Monday are very small classes, we all know, so. But let's do some yoga because it always helps. So get comfortable. Let yourself, if you prefer to sit up on blankets, do. Be mindful of really being able to get your legs in a place where you feel comfortable in your hips. So you stretch your legs out if you're on the floor, or be cross-legged, or sit up on blankets. Let your eyes close gently, and then just really easily, barely tilt your head a little bit to one side, so one ear comes towards one shoulder. And then bring your head back up through center and just easily go the other way. And then just come on back up to center and let your chin come down a little bit. Release the head forward a bit. And then go ahead and start to, even if your eyes are closed, imagine you're looking forward again. Getting your chin parallel to the floor. Starting to feel your breath now coming in and going out through your nose. So feeling the movement of the belly as you breathe in and out. Let your arms come on out beside you here now. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down through the midline to be in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And now make a circle with your shoulders. Let your shoulders come forward and up a little bit and back a little bit and down. And then just reverse that circle. So once you get down, just start to reach back first and then forward and up and down. And do one more in each direction. So you just let yourself, and try not to let it feel really tensing, right? Instead, you're just kind of wanking up your shoulders. Let it feel good, easy. And once you're back down again, after that last circle, release your arms out beside you and let your hands circle around. So keeping your hands loose and open, let yourself circle in one direction. And then circle the other. Good. And then let your arms reach straight out from your shoulders, like in a T position with your arms there. And then slowly rotate your palms up so that you feel your shoulders really melting down. And let's inhale the arms all the way up overhead from there. And on the exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be in front of our chest. And let's reverse those arms. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Good. And let's start to release into crossing our legs here. So you can stretch your legs forward for a second, shake out. And then let's all cross our left ankle above our right knee into that figure four. Now, if you are on the floor and you need to go lower with that ankle, do it so that you feel fine as you sit up tall and think of coming a little bit forward. You're more than welcome to put your right hand there on your left foot. You can press your foot into your hand a little bit or massage your toes if you want to. Interlace your fingers if you want to between your toes. Just enjoy feeling that length of the spine. Good. One more breath. And then we'll come on up. We're going to twist it from this position here. Take a nice inhale, and let's twist first to our left. Bring your right hand maybe to your left knee. That depends on you, how far around you want to come with your hand. Let yourself lengthen up. Feel the chin parallel to the floor. Feel length in the back of your neck and your throat. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. One more inhale. And on your exhale, come on back around through center. Feel that kind of swiveling motion as you come to the other side. And that twist is in the middle of the back still. Good. Lengthening up through the top of your head. And one more inhale. And on your exhale, use your belly to bring you on back around into center. And we're going to uncross here, and we're going to go to the other side. So take your time. Again, if you're on the floor and you need to cross your right ankle lower than your knee, do same thing if you're in your chair. You can cross at your ankle even. And come on a little bit forward. Think of keeping that firmness in the belly, the length of the spine. And again, it's certainly optional to put your hand on your foot. You can press the ball of the foot into your hand. You can let yourself wrap your fingers between your toes, or even massage a little bit. Sometimes it just feels really good to massage your own foot there. So just be mindful and enjoy feeling that length through the back body here. Let go through your face and your jaw. And then we're going to slowly come all the way back up. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we'll twist to our right. So again, you can bring your left hand to your knee if you want to, or your shin. Feel that twist in the middle of the back. And let yourself enjoy coming into that twist as you lengthen up through the top of your head. One more inhale. On the exhale, we'll come on back around all the way into the other direction in that twist. So take your time. Again, you don't have to go any deeper than you feel good to go. Lengthen up. Feel space in the back of your neck and your throat. Good. One more breath. And then ease your way on back around into center. Good. And uncross. And stretch your legs on out, stretch your arms forward for a second, and flex both your hands and your feet. And then let your fingertips face down as you point your feet a little bit there. And then again, draw the fingertips up and the toes up, and then let the toes point, let the fingertips come down. And then one more time, letting yourself release here. And then come on down with those fingers. Good. And we're going to come on down with our feet if we're in our chair. We're all going to make our way around towards our hands and knees. So take your time. Get comfortable however you need to be. I'm going to grab a few blocks. It appears somebody forgot theirs.
I spilled a drink in
No
my
name.
car.
Oh no, I actually was speaking with this person, but I'm not naming any names. So, you get comfortable. You know, if you don't want weight on your hands, don't put weight on your hands. You can go to your forearms to do your cat-cows. You can let yourself have hands on a chair or on the floor. But just be mindful as you start to feel that ease of flowing through your back a little bit, right? So letting the tailbone draw up under you when you exhale up into your cat pose. And sending your tailbone back and up as you move through into your cow. And just be mindful. Let it feel good. I mean, if you get to places that feel like, oh, I'm a little stiff there, see if you can just imagine flowing through them, right? Try not to. Sometimes when we get sore or stiff or we have these places, we kind of focus too much on them. Just trust that your body's going to take care of it. You know, it'll get better. It'll get different anyway. Finish off the one we're on. And we'll come on back to a more neutral spine. Let's step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into our first lunge. So again, you know, you can be wherever you like to be with your hands. They can be on a chair, they can be on the blocks, you can be in a longer stance or a shorter stance. You can have your torso up higher if that's better. Really opening up now through the back of the right leg. Feel down the back of your knee and then into your calf and into your Achilles, you know, the back of your ankle there. And we're going to switch legs. So again, just making sure that left foot is with the heel reaching directly behind. So you're not sending your heel inward. You'll get a little bit more if it reaches directly behind your foot. And then take your time. Enjoy that openness through the back of the left leg. And then think about the length of your spine here and the back of your head being in line with your spine. Good. We're going to switch legs again. And this time, really get firmly established in your lunge because we are going to add a little twist here. We're just going to bring our left hand up to our left hip. And if you want, you can roll your shoulder up and turn to look to the left. If you want to stretch your left arm up, you can. That's kind of up to you and your shoulders. And then bring your hand on back down. Come on back into your lunge. We're going to switch legs again. So again, really get your lunge established where you feel strong, you're comfortable, you feel like you're going to be able to lift up that right hand to your hip. And then when you're ready, you can roll the shoulder up a little bit, or you can reach the arm up if you want. Good. And then we'll release to come back into the lunge, and we're going to step forward and come into our standing forward bend. So go ahead, let your knees soften. Look at your feet. Just make sure you're pretty parallel with your feet. Use whatever support you need. Stay up as high as you want to, right? If it feels pretty good just to put your elbows to hold you up above your knees there to keep your spine lengthened, do that. And just enjoy, if you can, letting your head hang. As long as that doesn't bother your back, you can let your head hang. Let your face go. And try to really think about releasing all through your face. Just all the muscles are just relaxing around your mouth, around your eyes, across your forehead. One more nice breath here. And then we'll let our hands come to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So if you need to adjust to get into your mountain pose, do. Let yourself get mindfully with your feet hips distance apart and parallel underneath you. And then bring your gaze on forward. Let your arms slightly just float a little bit away from you. Just a tiny little bit, like there's a breath of air in your armpits, really. And then rotate your palms forward. So you feel this sense of, when you do that, you just open a little bit more right here across your chest. But it feels good and easy. Tailbone is dropping down towards between your heels. Belly is just gently engaging, but not so much that it tucks your tailbone up under you. And then as you exhale, just bend your elbows and softly let your hands come to meet in front of your chest. Feel the connection between each finger and your thumbs, your palms. Let it be really a light connection, but still you're aware of being connected there at your hands. Good. And on your next inhale, let the hands come up a little higher. It doesn't matter. It depends on your shoulders how high. Keep them together. And then when you exhale, let the hands come right back down to be in front of your chest. Now, if you want to add your head to this, you can. So as you inhale, if you like to look at your hands and that feels good to open your throat a little bit that way, do. And then when you exhale, coming back down again with the hands in front of your chest. And then one more time, inhaling, letting your hands rise up. And on the exhale, letting them lower back down. Good. And now let's unfold our arms back down beside us. And inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend our knees and come on forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. Whether you put your hands on your shins, your chair, your blocks, doesn't matter. And we'll step our right foot back and come into lunge. Draw your shoulders down, engage your belly. Feel the feet gently pressing away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat with your feet. Good. And we'll come on into a downward facing dog pose from here. So Take your time as you reach on back through your tailbone, through your sitting bones. Feel your hands on the surface they're on, and let your elbows softly hug towards each other as you lengthen back into your dog. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank, but you don't have to go all the way into a plank. You can come a little bit. You can go to your forearms and go to a forearm plank. You can, if you'd like, put your knees down and do a half plank. You can even do a push-up if you choose. You can bend your elbows a little bit. Good, and then we'll make our way back in to downward facing dog pose. If you want to walk a little bit in your dog, do. Bend one knee and then the other. Let yourself ease your way. Good, and then from here, we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. So however you need to get there, coming into that lunge. And then we'll come all the way back forward, coming into standing forward bend again. So feet really hips distance apart and parallel. And again, be mindful of your own back. I know some of you like to put your hands on your elbows. If you like that full weight, you can allow yourself to feel that kind of tractioning there, or you can put your elbows above your knees to support yourself in the length of your low back. Or use the chair or the blocks any way you want. And go to your breaths. Really now focus on those breaths. And see if you can let your inhales and exhales become fairly equal in length. And then we'll bend our knees again, bringing our hands to our hips, press into our feet and rise on up, and inhale our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. From here, let's tilt our head to the left. Let your left ear come towards your left shoulder. And then just roll your chin forward towards your chest. And then just keep rolling to let your right ear come towards your right shoulder. And then roll the chin back down towards the chest. And now bring your gaze on back forward and out, coming into your mountain pose. Feel your hands feel equal between your feet. And let's inhale the hands right up through the midline of the body. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings. Bend your knees as you come forward into that standing forward bend. That takes it out of your back. And let your next inhale help you find that nice long spine. And this time, left foot steps back to lunge. So again, find your lunge easily. Feel your whole body there. Feel your shoulders drawing down away from your ears, and feel your belly zipping up a little bit, pubic bone to belly button. Good, and we're going to come on into down dog from here. So take your time as you reach back into your downward facing dog pose. And again, feel your hands, and if you're on the blocks, just be careful. It can get tippy. But be mindful, hug your elbows a little bit towards each other. Reach back equally through your sitting bones. Good, and let your next inhale bring you towards that plank. Again, once you come into plank, how you do it is up to you. You can do forearms down, you can put knees down into a half plank. You can bend your elbows, do little push-ups if you choose. Or you may just want to stay in the plank and really focus on your core, right? Focus on the belly, the low back, the hips. And then when you're ready, coming on back again into downward facing dog pose. Good. And from here, this time left foot comes forward to get into that lunge. And however you need to get there, you can put your right knee or both knees down, whatever works. And then we'll come on back again into standing forward bend. And again, right to your breath. Be mindful of your back. Once you get set up, then just let your awareness follow your breath all the way in and all the way out. Let go of your jaw. If you feel tension in your jaw, you feel kind of tight, sometimes it helps just to kind of open and close your mouth a little bit, or move around with your mouth. Think about your teeth being a little bit separated too. Good. And then from here, we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise on up and inhale the arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline, and on the exhale, open the arms as you come from your hips into that forward bend, right? It's not your back. It's really a hip hinge coming forward. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long back. And we're going to come into down dog from here. So whether you go onto your forearms and go back into a forearm, coming more into a dolphin rather than a down dog, or maybe you want to put your knees down and just rest. Take your time, don't push it. We're going to come on out towards that plank. And again, it is totally optional what you do here. Back bend is fine or not. So you can come down onto your forearms into a sphinx. You can do a little cobra. You can do an up dog. Or you don't have to do a back bend at all. And then we'll make our way back again into down dog. Take your time, walk a little bit, let your head turn a little bit if you can. Just a bit of turning your head side to side so you feel maybe a little release in your neck. And then we're going to come on back to full dog, and again we'll come out towards a plank, and it is totally optional here whether you do any kind of back bend or not, or stay in your dog. You don't even have to come to plank if you don't want to, or stay in your plank. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And then from here, let's bring our left foot forward, find lunge. Good. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. And again, get really comfortable, whatever that means for you, right? Whatever kind of support you need. Let yourself feel those breaths easily all the way in and out. Feeling the breath coming in and going out through the nose. Press into our feet as we rise on up to standing, and let's inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead, and let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Coming into mountain pose here now. If you need to shift a little bit, do. Sometimes it's fun to shift forward and back, or even side to side, or a little bit of both those, or circling is fun too. Let yourself imagine you're just circling a little bit there with the body, so that when you stop that kind of little bit of movement, it feels like you just stop right there at center, very easily balanced out between your feet. Coming into your mountain pose. And then we'll release our arms on down, shake your hands out a little bit, move through your hands and your feet too if you can. You can pick them up, circle around a little bit. And we're going to come into some warriors. So if you're using your chair, you might want to turn it. You definitely want to have both your blocks handy at the front of your mat. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into warrior two first. So getting that right foot about parallel to the back edge of our mat, lining our heels up, bending that left knee, letting the knee come right out over the center of your foot. And then take your time. First, just let your hands come down to your thighs, all right? You're touching your thighs lightly. Look down for a second at your left knee, right? Or maybe your left toes, doesn't matter. Just find a little bit of a release for your neck there. And then as you start to rise your right arm back behind you, let your chin come up too. So you're looking forward over your left shoulder, and then let your left arm rise up as well. So you're really now coming in fully into your warrior two. Feel your arms, your legs, your hips, your shoulders, your spine, right? So the whole body in the warrior two here. It's like very powerful and strong. And then we'll put our right hand back down on our right thigh, turn our left palm up, and inhale, reach up towards the sky. Let yourself take a nice breath into the left ribs. And on your next exhale, come into your side angle, where you either put your hand or your forearm on your chair or on your left thigh. So you're leaning out over that front leg. And you can decide about adding that top arm up. If you want to add the right arm up into line with the right side of the body, or if you want to keep the right hand down on your hip. So feel that sense of length through both sides of the body, really. You're not collapsing or rounding into that left underside. You're lengthened. Good. We're going to come back to warrior two. Pressing those feet away from each other gets us right back into the pose. And now let's put our right hand on our hip this time and straighten our left knee out, our front knee out, and we're going to bring our hand down for triangle. So it's the same action. The torso comes out over that front leg, but this time the leg is straight. And you can put your hand on your thigh, your shin. I like to use a chair seat. You can use a block. And you can stretch your right arm straight up from your shoulder on this one if you want to, where the palm faces, to the long edge of your mat, forward of you, and you can let yourself enjoy feeling the thighs engaging upward towards the hips. Good. One more breath. And then bend the left knee. We're going to come back to warrior two. So that's the core strength that comes into play there. If you have your chair there, you can use it for a little support. We're going to bring our hands down, and we're going to turn our feet now more to where we're setting up for a wide-legged forward bend. So if you need your blocks, grab your blocks. Otherwise, your hands can be on the floor. That's fine. But see if you can walk your hands or your blocks way out in front of you, like you're doing a down dog. But let your hands be farther apart than you do when you do your real dog. And then let your heart just melt down a little. You can bend your knees as much as you want. You can keep the legs straighter if that feels good. But imagine that you're just letting your heart melt down a little bit towards the ground. So there's this release between the shoulder blades on the back. Good. And then from there, walk your hands on back, whether they're on blocks or the floor, and let's walk over towards our right foot. You don't have to go all the way. You can bring your blocks a little bit over, stay there, or you can go ahead and release to hold on to the outside of your right ankle if you want to. And just stay there for a couple breaths. Give the hips and the hamstrings, the outer thighs and inner thighs time to really release into the pose. And then we'll come back through center, and we're going to walk over to the other side. In other words, same thing. You don't have to go all the way. You can be on your blocks. You can be in front of your foot. You can walk all the way over to hold on to the outside of your ankle, but just stay. Be with your breath. Let your head hang. Good. And then we'll walk back into center again, and now go ahead and bend your knees however you want. You can do one at a time. You may decide you want to bend both your knees. Just kind of play a little bit to bring yourself into a little more comfort there. And then set up to be with your breath however that works for you, right? If you'd like to use your blocks underneath your forearms or underneath your hands, that can be a great way to enable you to keep a long back and not have any kind of sense of discomfort in your back. Or some of you I know like to go ahead and hang your head down, bring your hands more towards between your feet, because that feels good to some people. So be mindful. Just for a second, imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet, so you're pressing them gently away from each other. And imagine your inner thighs melting their way behind you a little more. You can do that with knees a little bent or straighter legs. And now follow your breath in and out. One more full deep breath here. come up, be really mindful. You know that if you need to bring your feet closer together before you come up, because that helps, it's easier that way, do it. And then once you're up there, bring your feet together, move around, walk around a little bit if you need, loosen your feet, your ankles. And we're gonna go to the other side. So you let yourself step forward on your mat, step your left foot back, coming into that warrior two. So again, get those heels aligned. Get that back foot about parallel to the back edge of your mat, and bend that right knee so you're really lined up there. Let your hands come to your thighs. And then turn your head to look to the right and then down so that you look at your knee. You can see if it's placed well. You can look at your toes, whatever feels good. Just release your neck there. I mean, really let the head hang. See if you can let go of any tension you might feel. Depends on you where it might be, right? And now as we start to rise the head, we're going to rise the left arm up too. So the left arm comes back behind us. We're looking here now, right out over our right shoulder. And then we're going to float the right arm up. And let these arms really feel like they're floating out there. So you're very strong here in the pose. Shoulders are relaxed down, but feet are pressing gently away from each other. You can feel your hips. You can feel the strength in the core of your body. Nice. We'll put our left hand down on the back of our thigh here. Turn our right palm up and inhale, reach up. Feel that nice full breath now into the right ribs. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So again, it can be your hand on your thigh or your chair. You can go lower if you want to your forearm. You can decide about adding the left arm or not. It can stay hand on your hip. You can swing the arm up into line with the left side of your body. Again, you're lengthening through both sides of the body. Beautiful. And then we're going to come on back to warrior two. Press those feet gently away from each other. Get you right back into that core strength. And now let's put our right hand down on our hip and straighten left hand on our left hip and straighten our right knee. Now remember, as you come into triangle, it is the same thing really. You're coming with that long back as you come out over that leg. You can put your hand any height you want to be. Extend your torso out, and now if you like to add the arm on your triangle, it goes straight up from your shoulder and your palm faces towards that long edge of your mat. And you can decide here, does it feel good to turn, to look up a little bit towards the ceiling? If not, don't do it. You can also turn to look at your foot on the floor, which is usually a release for the neck. One more breath. We're going to bend the right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two. Feeling the strength there in the legs, in the hips. And then letting our hands come down. We'll turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come on forward. So again, grab your blocks if you like your blocks. And this time, once you get your hands grounded, go ahead and bend a knee at a time so you get, able to easily feel a little release there up into your hips. Just take your time. Let it feel good. And then when you're ready to set up to be in your pose, whether you like to hold your ankles or put your hands between your feet or put blocks underneath your head or under your forearms, or some of you might want to put your elbows above your knees with them slightly bent so that you're really supporting that long back. Just find that place for yourself where there's no stress, and you can just breathe fully and deeply in and out. Good. One more full deep breath. Take your time when you start to come up. Remember, it's a matter of what works for you to rise as easily as you can on up to standing. Bring your feet on together again. Move through your feet and your ankles a little bit. And then just bring your feet under you. Come on into your mountain pose for a second. Get yourself with your hips over your ankles, your shoulders over your hips. Let yourself bring your hands to your heart then gently. And then just clasp your hands. Squeeze your palms towards each other. Feel when you're squeezing, you really feel your biceps. Feel yourself all the way up into your shoulders engaged. And then lightly start to press out into the heels of your hands. Let yourself just open up there for a second. Good. And then let's rise the arms on up. We're going to come into a little bit of a side stretch here. So just lean a little bit. And if you can't hold your hands like that, hold them another way, right? Just lean a little bit to one side, breathing into that side you're stretching. And then let yourself come up and go a little bit to the other side. And then do it again. Come on up and go to one side and breathe into the ribs on that side. And then come on up and go to the other side. It's like you're just really feeling that sense of the breath doing the work for you. And then we'll come on up. We're going to open our arms on out beside us here now. And then just let your arms swing a little bit. Good. And we're going to do some things at the wall. We're going to do a little pyramid with our hands at the wall. So let's bring our mats to a wall. There's few enough of us in here today. We can do that. So Margaret, you could be there. Yeah, you can be right there. I'm going to turn the over here. We can even get another person right here if you want to. If you're not, Pat, if you want to come right here. Yeah. I'll make sure the camera moves away from you. Yeah, we haven't gotten to, when the classes are bigger, I don't get to do this, so. So, what we're going to work on a little bit is turning to face the wall and coming into a little bit of a pyramid pose with our hands at the wall. Now, you can do fists, like when you step your right foot back and you have your arms long here. If your wrists bother you, you can come onto fists, or you can do flat hands on the wall if that feels fine to your wrists and your hands. Now, how low you go with your body, whether you stay parallel to the floor or go up higher, is up to you. Don't think about going lower, though. Think about going no lower than being parallel to the floor with your body. And you've got that right heel on the floor, turned in slightly. You can look back at it easily and see it. And then you can just enjoy reaching back through the tailbone. And if you can imagine drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. Both legs are straight, so you're trying to keep your legs straight and feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips. And you're trying to keep that back heel on the floor. Good. So one more breath there. And then we're just going to bend that front knee, step forward. All we're going to do is switch. So stepping the left foot back. And remember, in pyramid pose, you can have your feet a little apart like you're on really narrow railroad tracks if that feels better for your hips. Or you can have your heels lined up. I mean, some people that feels even better. They line their heels up. It's different when you're up like this rather than having your hands down on the blocks. It really forces you to lengthen your spine out. Now draw your hip pointer bones towards each other. Send your tailbone back. Feel your thighs lifting upward like you're creating space in your knees. Because you're strengthening all the muscles around your knees in this pose. And it doesn't matter how low your body is to do that, right? And one more breath here. Oh, good. Let's step forward and look at the wall and reach your right hand straight out. You might want to look at me. Straight out from your shoulder and let your fingertips touch the wall. So you're kind of belly towards the wall. You can rest your head on the wall for a second. Let yourself press the tips of your fingers and thumbs into the wall a little bit. Imagine you're kind of drawing your fingertips down towards the ground, but don't let them move. That's how you're engaging though. And then just start to turn a little bit to your left. And you don't have to go far, right? You just until you feel a little bit of stretch across the right side of your chest. And it doesn't take much. So the hips can move, the feet can move. You're opening up here across the right front side of your chest there. See if you can bring your hand up a little higher, maybe 5 inches, 6 inches higher. and press in again. See how that feels. So, keeping shoulder mobility, we talk about it all the time. If you want to keep going, you can bring the hand up even higher and kind of imagine that you're still pressing into the wall. And if some of you want to turn all the way with your right side of the body, all the way to the wall, and the arm directly up overhead, you can kind of still have your fingertips on the wall there, and imagine you're hanging down on a bar or something, like you're holding onto a bar almost, and you're just letting yourself release there. Don't push it. If your shoulder doesn't do this, don't do it. Good. We're going to turn back to the wall. Bring your left arm up overhead and be like you're playing bridge. London Bridge. What bridge is the bridge? London Bridge. So step back with your hips a little bit. Both hands are up overhead. Fingertips and tips of the thumbs are on the wall. Hug your elbows in towards each other. But just round for a second. Look down. Let the upper body release a little bit here. Right between your shoulder blades especially. So you're looking down and releasing. And then step back in towards the wall. Lower that right arm all the way down and let your left hand come out from your shoulder like we did on the other side. So now left hand is out from your shoulder. You can bring your right hand to your hip. Press into the wall with the left fingertips and the tips of your thumbs. And then again, as you're pressing in, you can start to turn away a little bit. Turn your hips, your feet. Let yourself come a little bit into stretching more across the front of the chest. Now this pectoral muscle, right? This stretch is hard to get. So this is it can be really deep though, so don't do it if it hurts. Again, if you like to bring your hand up about 6 inches and press into the wall still, you can. And you can keep going up and up a little bit at a time if you choose to do that, if that feels really good. And once you get to where, I think I can turn all the way my left side to the wall and let my arm be up overhead, I can try that. But don't do it if it hurts. Good. We're going to turn to face the wall again. And this time, walk your hands down so that you can step back like you're doing a down dog at the wall. You can do fists, remember. You can let your hands be in fists so that you don't have a wrist crease, or you can have your hands flat on the wall. You're aiming for a 90-degree angle at your hips. And some of you might want to stay right here. Some of you might want to get your feet a little closer together and lift your right leg up in the air behind you. So you're in a warrior 3, turning the toes down towards the ground. And then you can also switch legs, bring that foot down, and bring the left foot up so that you come into the other side. You don't have to do these, only if you want. Good. And then come on back down. Let yourself bend both your knees for a second and really reach back through your tailbone and your sitting bones with the knees bent so you have that bit of a natural curve in your low back. Yes, good. And then from there, walk back in towards the wall. Bring your hands behind you and clasp them, and think about getting your belly button into the wall. So navel towards the wall, and you can put your head on the wall too if that's better. Engage your belly a little bit. Now try not to overly tuck your tailbone under you. Do it for a second. It feels terrible. Think about the tailbone still trying to drop down between your heels as your belly is into the wall. And you may want to bring your head a little bit away from the wall. You may not, right? That's up to you. You can, if you choose, to let yourself open up a little bit there. Or not. You can keep your head at the wall too if that feels better. It's a little bit of a back bend. Even if you just barely bring your head off the wall, you're in a little bit of a back bend. It's kind of like a standing camel. Good. And then let yourself release. Come back to turn your back to the wall. And let's all come right down onto our mats on the floor on our bellies, because it's pretty easy. We're right here. We can get down. We can come onto our belly. And we can make a little pillow with our hands. And lift our feet up once our head's relaxed. And circle our feet around. Do your own little foot dance back there, actually. Whatever feels good. Legs too if you want. You know, you can let your lower legs move a little bit. side to side, windshield wiper blade style, or you can just work with the feet, playing around a little bit back there. Just be mindful, let it feel good. Good. And then come on back with long legs. Let's come up onto our forearms and let yourself come into a Sphinx pose. So you're aiming to get your elbows pretty much under your shoulders, but man, if that hurts your back, don't do it. Go lower, slide elbows down more towards your waist if you want, or even let the elbows come forward, right? And that's another shoulder thing, right? So if you find the back bend that you need to find, you just kind of let your shoulders lead you to where you want your elbows. So be where you are here. One more breath. And then let's either clasp our hands or leave them out like this if you want. We're going to bend our knees and come up into a half forearm plank. So feeling like you're drawing yourself towards the front of the mat, come onto that flesh above your knees and feel how your belly really engages. It's like you're pulling. Like you're trying to pull your head all the way to the front of your mat, right? And you feel how your belly works. Your belly, your low back, your hips. Good. One more breath. Good. And then come on down and make your pillow with your hands again. Rest your forehead. And let's bring that right knee out beside us on the floor and up kind of towards your right elbow. It's not going to be anywhere close to your right elbow, but that's the idea. And just rest your head. You just turn to look towards your right elbow. And you're just going to breathe and release. Half frog, really. So your foot is on the floor. Your right foot is like down on the floor. And the knee is just off to the side just a little bit, enough for you to find a release there. Breathe into your low back and your hips. Good, and then come on back with that leg and let's do the other one. So just left knee just kind of slides a little bit, it's bent. You're letting your head turn to look towards your left elbow. And then you're just breathing into the low back, into the hip there. Let it feel releasing. Good. And then slide the leg back underneath you again. And let's bring our hands now right by our chest. Right chest level, high chest level, right? At the top of the ribs, kind of. And then hug your elbows in towards each other. And then imagine you're drawing your elbows towards your waist, which will enable you to float your head up. And there is a locust pose. A cobra pose. So you are more than welcome to stay right here. You can even float your hands up and see how much work your back is doing there. Or you can keep your hands down and press into them and come up higher if you choose to, into a higher cobra pose there. Very optional to do. Stay low. You want to find the back bend that feels good. Elbows hug in, shoulders away from your ears. Good. And then we're going to release back towards child's pose. So you can either come down and shift back, or you can go from that cobra into your child's pose. Be mindful. Stay. If you know child's pose isn't for you, you can stay on your belly and breathe into your back. Or you can be forward on your forearms so that you're not shifting your hips back towards your heels. Sometimes how far apart your knees are makes a difference too. So sometimes just that difference of whether they're a little more forward or separated a little more makes a huge difference too. Or a blanket can be used. Whether it's a blanket right under your knees, underneath your lower legs, or even behind your knees, rolled up into a roll. So just breathe. Nice, full, easy, deep breaths. Let yourself release into the low back and the hips. Good. And then we are going to bring our hands back to help us up so that we can come around to sitting. So let yourself come on around, and You might want your blocks handy, and you might also want to sit on a blanket, right? Because we're going to come into soles of the feet together into a little Badakanasana. So if you know that your knees or your hips like really kind of scream at you when you sit like this, putting blocks to support you can make a huge difference. And sitting up on a blanket can too. The other thing is changing how far away your feet are from you in this pose. So you can have the feet in close, you can have the feet farther out, but you're trying to sit up nice and tall in this pose. And you're also, you don't want to hold on to your toes and pull your toes up off the floor like that to kind of sickle your feet. You want the feet to be easily outside edges of the feet into the floor. So you can, as you lengthen up, we're going to add a little bit of stuff here on the top. So find the length through your spine. And then let your right arm come up overhead, okay? And as we come into bringing our left fingertips to the floor, we're just going to bend the left elbow a little bit and come into side stretch. And they're actually kind of hard to do in this pose. Stay with your right sitting bone down. Let yourself just breathe into that right side. And then we'll come up. We're going to lower that right hand down, and we're going to rise the left arm up. And then again, you can kind of adjust this right hand. You can bend the elbow a little bit deeper if you want. Go into your side stretch where you want to go. Good, and then come on back up. Take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So you might want your right hand to go to your left knee. You might want your right hand to stay on your foot there, on your feet. That's totally up to you. Come into the twist that feels good. Lengthen up through the top of your head. And think of your chin parallel to the floor. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and all the way into the other direction. Again, lengthening up. Feeling your sitting bones reaching down. Add that drawing up of the pelvic floor if you can. One more breath. And then use your belly to come on back around. Hands behind you now. You can stay on fingertips or you can go flatter onto your hands. Think of your chest really coming a little bit forward. But your tailbone is still reaching down, right? Not curling up under you. So there's a huge difference in reaching your tailbone back a little bit and then opening through the front of the body. You can look wherever feels good for your neck. You know, if you like to look up, do. And we're going to come on back. And now if you can come forward in this pose, let yourself ease a little bit forward. Think of coming forward from your low back. And imagine the knees just gently reaching away from each other. Let this feel like a relief, right? I mean, some of you might even want to go, oh, I just need to round a little bit and let my head hang. If that feels okay to you, do it, right? Just be mindful. Let it feel like a release, not like you're tensing yourself up. And one more breath. And now we're going to slowly come up. You can use your hands to help your knees get back up if you want. And then stretch your legs on out in front of you. And move through your legs a little bit. And you can even, if it feels good, you can take like the heels of your hands, start on the outside of your legs, right up here where your legs connect, right, to the body. And just press in all the way to above your knees. And you can do that, like that's your IT band, right? But you can do that there, and then you can kind of head up a little more each time you do it, heading towards the top of your thighs. And just let yourself, it's like a little self-massage, but it feels really good. And it sometimes even can help knee pain, I know the truth. So just let yourself do a couple of those and shake it out, shake your legs out a little bit. We're going to come onto our backs on the floor. So Let yourself come on down and release to bring your knees into your chest when you're ready. Let the knees come side to side so that your low back releases really gently and easily. And then let your feet come on to the floor, and let's cross our right ankle above our left knee. Figure 4 here, right? And you can either leave your left foot on the floor or bring your left knee in towards your chest and clasp behind your thigh if you choose to. That's totally up to you and your hips, and you know it. So if you don't want to lift the left foot up, don't. If both feet are up, flex through both feet. And if the left leg wants to extend up long a little bit, you can do that. You know, that's up to you. If it feels good to unfold that leg and reach the foot up towards the ceiling, you can do that. Good. And then if that leg was long, go ahead and bend the left knee again. Put the left foot on the floor, and now keep your legs crossed, but stretch your arms out beside you into a T position, kind of. And now, let your legs come over to the left. This is a twist. It's kind of a different twist. Legs come over. If you can get your right foot to the floor, you're still crossed in that figure 4. See how that feels. If it's too much, put a block underneath your right foot so you don't go so low, right? So either the foot's on the floor, the knee's still kind of reaching up towards the ceiling a little bit, or maybe you've got your foot on a block. Now, if you want more, you can let the right knee descend down towards the floor, right? Like it's coming down towards your left elbow. So if you want to, like instead of the knee kind of coming upward, you can let it come downward if that feels good, into that right hip and into the buttock. Don't force it. And just breathe. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to take our right foot off so we uncross, then bring our feet to the floor. Of course, straighten yourself out because you'll be really crooked. Get your spine straightened out. Lift your hips up a little bit. Press into the feet. You can kind of lift up and down a little bit. Good. And then we're going to go the other side. So we'll cross the left ankle above the right knee. Again, if you want to draw the right knee in towards you, you can clasp behind that right thigh. If it's too much on your hips, don't lift the right foot up. Flex through both feet if they're both up. But at least keep flexing through the left foot. And then again, this right leg, sometimes it just feels really good to extend the leg up long. If you want to do that, you can. Actually, that kind of takes it out of the hip more when you do that. So if you really want to stay in the hip, keep the knee bent. If you want to feel, a little bit of the hamstring of that right leg, you might want to stretch it up. And one more breath. We're going to bring our right foot down if it's not already. Stretch your arms out beside you. And the legs are going to just start to go to the right. Again, if you feel like you don't want to put your left foot all the way to the floor, put a block underneath it. Or you can put the block underneath the outside of the right knee. Either one. And you can stay there. You can go lower with your feet to the floor. And of course, if you want to lower that left knee so that it's kind of coming down and it's kind of almost coming towards your right elbow too, you can do that if that feels like a good twist for you. If not, don't do it. Just take your time. Let yourself feel that left shoulder releasing towards the ground. Good. One more breath. And again, once you start to come up, you'll probably want to uncross right away. Bring your feet to the floor and then shift to straighten your spine out. come into a little bridge pose too, if you can. Doesn't have to be high, it can be if you want. Let your feet come just where you like for your bridge. Remember, feet are still pretty parallel, probably a little bit wider than you are in your mountain. And you can lift up and down if you choose to, or you can let yourself go onto a block. If that sounds even better, you can release onto a block and be in supported bridge for a little bit. Or you can always just move a little bit up and down with your breath. Take your time. And, you know, you don't have to wait for me. If you're like, okay, well, I don't really want to do more bridge pose, but there is something else I'd like to do, by all means, come out of your bridge whenever. And maybe your body is just craving some other movement or a pose, right? You might need another twist. You might feel like it would feel very good to bring yourself into another hip releasing kind of pose. There's any number of things that your body might be telling you would feel really good right now. Start to get some light. And then I'm going to start to bring stuff. So, if you're not ready and you're still needing to finish off what you're doing, and then once you feel like you might want something way backy, the bolster sounds good. Yeah. So anything, remember, when you're lying here, there are any number of things that might, you know, enable you to feel better. Bolster under the knees is one thing. Yes. Blanket under the head is another. If you feel kind of like your neck is stiff a little bit, your chin is rising up a little bit, then sometimes just a little bit of a blanket, I can bring you that. And just let your arms, your legs, just find a place where you can feel as much release up into your shoulders and your hips as you can. So you can feel like you're melting into the ground almost. And then just let yourself come to watch your breath. Easily in and out. And you know, if it helps you to count your breaths, you can count your breaths coming back when your mind wanders away to either starting over or back to the last number you remember. You can also think a mantra or a word when you inhale and exhale, and let that be what brings you back to your breath. But just be easy. Enjoy. Give your body this time, so that whatever benefit it needs to get, it will, just by you simply allowing yourself to completely and fully relax. your breath start to deepen and lengthen. Perhaps feeling the belly rise and fall with the breath. Letting yourself become aware of feeling physical there on the ground again, being supported by the floor. And as your breath starts to deepen more naturally and easily, let it bring you back into wanting to move again. So as you do, start to wiggle and move your fingers, your toes, moving your hands, your feet how you want. Just let your body take over to move the way it needs. If you need to stretch, let yourself stretch. If you need to move in any way at all, just take your time. You know you're welcome to stay on your back. You're welcome to roll to either your right or your left side. Just give yourself time to adjust a little bit. Enjoy the ground a little longer. And then when you are ready to rise up to sitting, just be really mindful. Take your time. Let yourself comfortable in your hips and how you're sitting, and use blankets if you need underneath you. Let your eyes gently close if they opened on your way up. And just enjoy finding that sense of lengthening upward through the top of your head easily. And then feel how easy it is to let your breath come in and go out through your nose, into your belly. And on your next exhale, letting your hands gently come to meet in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy